Hey y'all, it's me. I called out today after working 2 days. My hands and wrists, my body's just in so much pain. And then I heard the song that I made the title of this video. And it made me think I have so few pictures of my past. But there's a picture of my mother and me. I posted it on IG actually because the song just really touched me. And in my previous video, I discussed how Father's Day was hard for me because I didn't have a good father. And he didn't love me. But my mother did. And I love her so, so much. Loved her and do love her, even though she's not in my life anymore. And so I just wanted to, that song just, I know that she loves me. She just can't. She's not in a state of mind to be able to be the positive, loving person that I know she is, or can be. And I'm through with, I can't be around people. Even if my mother, if, the last time, one of the last times I saw my mom, she got a butcher knife out of the kitchen drawer. At first I thought she meant it for me, because this has been her third husband, Ken, and I got into it. And I just finally told him that he should have been told a long time ago. I've said that before in previous videos. But she and I ended up in the guest room, which is where I was staying at her house. And I wasn't even scared, I guess just more shocked or startled. I don't know. I think when you have CPTSD, you just kind of shut down when something like that happens, because it just overstimulates your nervous system and you just can't process it. But we had the door shut, and she didn't have the knife with her any longer. Either she put it back or she put it down on the bed, or I don't know. I can't remember, but I said something to the effect that I was, afraid, and, I thought she had pulled a knife on me. And she said no, and she went like this to herself. And I had a strong feeling that she was suicidal. She had said previously, at the last job she had, I don't know if she still works there, or volunteers there, but she had made a comment about killing herself, about unaliving herself. I'm wondering if that's why I got so few, not like I get a lot of views on my channel anyway, but I'm just so tired of people minimalizing, being so over it, that they want to end life by suicide, and that they think, I don't know, they want to minimize it, and they don't want it to hear about it or see it, and so they change suicide in the, in the, not in the comments, but like if somebody's done an IG post and they have the what they're saying in text along with what they're saying, they turn suicide. She says the word suicide and or kill themselves, and it comes out unalive. And I just find that very insulting and degrading. Um, and I know it's way past Mother's Day, and that's a tough day for me too, because she's no longer in my life. But I understand where she's coming from. I loved my husband, but my feelings of wanting to die and a slow painful death, which comes from my childhood abuse and my sister's childhood abuse and my mother's rape, always felt like I was her mom. And Joel's that way too. I felt like I was the keeper of my secrets. And I never really know or knew what her dreams were. She had a beautiful singing voice. This is going to come off as rambling because I'm upset. And so much pain. It's been very hard to sleep because the pain has been so bad. But I see a rheumatologist on Friday, so I'm going to try to make it to work, and then just leave. I've already, it's I've okayed it with my supervisor, and I hope I can make it. Because I need full paychecks to get degrees, and so I'm hoping the blood work. It's an extended follow up, and it's funny because I have to fill out all these online forms, assessment forms, and I did. And what was your pain level? And I put 9. I didn't put 10 because it can get worse. But 9 is really fucking bad. Anyone with chronic pain, rheumatoid arthritis, you'll understand, or any other type of chronic pain. And having lived with it for 25 years, 24/7, I'm just really tired. Oh, really. And I'm tired. Um, that's why I called up today. I was um, Today was my early shift, and I woke up and had to like gently roll out of bed, and it kept putting pressure on my hands, and even my legs are hurting again, just from Sunday when I did my last video, and my feet, my left foot. But I did make myself. I slept some more. I journaled. I have my one wristband on, and I got like frozen shoulders and no shoulders. So I did do my coffee yoga. I did very gently modified, which isn't a lot. I just do 4 gentle stretches while I wait for a lot of oil. And usually Lily Bell comes in and she calls at me. And so I forget what they call it, but I lean all the way over and just like let my hand, I can hear the cracking in my neck. And I pet her while I'm in that pose. Like the bend over all the way, like when you're touching your toes, basically. And that's our little thing, which brings me joy. And on the phone with her now with my mom's. Dreams. Or sure, very realize that it was dreams. She's the best singer. I feel like that's what my singing voice from. What's so sad is my RA is so bad because I've been without medicine for so long that it's affecting it's inflamed my throat. So I've been taking 600 milligram prescription Advil every day just to get through the day. And it usually kicks in around 6 p.m., which is the end of my work day. Coworkers helped me yesterday. And my supervisors have been kind, of course, to doctors' place to make them kind. But that's corporate for you, just across the border. I just, and that song is really touching because I know deep down she loves me, but she's afraid and doesn't believe she deserves the help that I know she deserves. And it took me 40 years and a divorce. You know, I loved my husband, but it took a divorce. And and then his pretty blatant shows of anger and hate towards me to finally, well, become suicidal enough, like actively suicidal, that I called 911. Went to the psych ward, which was one of the best experiences of my life, as I've said before. I wish my mother had that experience, and my sister too. I haven't heard from her since my last email, or since my last letter. The song just makes me think of both of them. But I have, like I said, I have very few pictures from moving so much and also being homeless and losing a lot. But I have one picture of my mom. The black car is my Nana and Grandpa's car, my mom's parents' car. And the white car is that Ford Galaxy 500 that was one of our cars. We had that. We had a Comet. Does anybody remember the Comet? I can't. Was it a Dodge Comet? Chrysler Comet, maybe? I don't know. It had red leather seats. Or leather seats, I don't know. Tanks of cars they were. That was the 70s for you. And it's funny because I have this nostalgia for the 70s and 80s. Even though horrible things happened. Just because we were free in a way, at least I was able to escape that house and spend all day outside in the summers of peace and be with my neighborhood friends and then my two closest friends, Stephanie and Leslie. And Leslie has been with me the whole time. And so hopefully I'll get a chance to call her or talk to her this weekend. I told her I was free on Sunday. I'm going to try to make it to work Friday and Saturday because I need to have full paychecks. And I also have started not feeling safe in this apartment because My roommate, who was also my landlady, retired early, and I was given, she told me about 3 weeks before it happened, and she wrote this interim lease that says, and she knows, I mean, I told her I have a chronic illness, and since I've been on it, and I had medication for my RA for the past 2+ months, I've had to take time off of work, mostly unpaid leave. Because where I work, you have to accrue time off, which I think is a horrible thing. And I'm not really even thinking that. But the stipulation in this lease was that I have to be, because she wants more privacy now that she's retired early, that I have to be out of the apartment at least 20 hours a week. And that really upset me. I don't know. She showed no sympathy or understanding. She never really has. And that, of course, triggers me because my family didn't either show much sympathy towards my RA and what turned out to be CPTSD and chronic suicidal ideation. Not even my husband. Why they even put for better or for worse? Because it doesn't. With 50% divorce rate, nobody sticks to the worst. And I think if he had stuck with me, or if anyone had shown the least amount of interest in the fact that my teeth were rotting, and I'm not playing the victim card, it's just the way it is. People don't want to think about it, they don't want to see it. Mental illness or chronic illness, they don't know what to do about it. And our government wants to make it even harder for us to try to survive through the terrible healthcare system that we struggle through. I did see that there is a alternative to methotrexate, and so I'm going to talk to my doctor about that. It may have less, that's closest, most comparable in efficacy as methotrexate in pill form. Did I tell you that, I've been on methotrexate for 15 years of pill form, and it's a form of chemotherapy. They use it as chemotherapy too. And it has side effects. And I may have mentioned this before, but one of them was I had I developed like scalp sores, numerous, and they were painful. And it's really hard when it's funny because I remember I used to pick at my fingers all the time. And like father and daughter, my dad used to have on a cushion chair that he sat on in the living room. He used to have this soldiers, or that's what they reminded me of, a regiment of sewing wheels he used to pick at his fingers with. So it kind of sounds so shit happy, doesn't it? And my mother also used to really, bite at her fingers so they were red and raw too. I have gotten over that since I've been in therapy. But I just find it so funny. I was in DC when I went to the emergency room, and I don't know why they didn't know I had, or I didn't say anything about having health insurance. This was the Affordable Care Act time, where I was paying $400 premium, and horrible ER doctor there, a guy. Didn't take into consideration that I had RA, that what drugs I was taking for my RA, and he immediately thought I had AIDS. So he had me take an AIDS test, which cost me $500. I was paying $500 for an AIDS test. And of course it wasn't AIDS. It was methotrexate, because as soon as I went off the pill form and was taking Versuvo that my insurance company doesn't cover, all of those scalp sores, which I still had on and off throughout these 15 years, disappeared. So I'm hoping that this alternative is an option for me, because I'd rather not go on methotrexate again if it has to be pill form, and I'd rather not work with the Clio sending me bills that I'm not going to pay because they owe me so much money for all the unpaid leave I had to take because they were so incompetent. But anyway, sorry, I'm sniffling because I've been crying. But I'm taking 4 of the 6 Advil that are trying to keep it down to, and so I've been able to sleep a little bit with less pain this afternoon. I can't believe it's almost 8 o'clock. I did make it to Trader Joe's. I took the trash down, and I slowly walked to Trader Joe's just to pick up a few things. You know me, I need my bananas. I picked up some frozen blueberries. I made my own strawberry jam, actually. Frozen strawberries. And I just made a simple strawberry jam by heating them up and mushing them. And I put a bunch of chia seeds in it to kind of give it that gel. And to put on my waffles, because my roommate, who also on Father's Day sat me down and told me I wasn't honoring this interim lease, and I was trying to tell it. So upset me because I've been homeless 3 times, and I'm like, what is she saying? Is she going to kick me out? This can't be right. What is happening? I mean, yes, she's going through this adjustment, but why does it have to affect my life? And I'm paying, and I talked to my therapist, and I talked to the therapist part was most important. I talked about it with a couple of friends and showed these to a couple of friends, and I'm like, this doesn't sound really legal, Lisa. In fact, my roommate has lived in this apartment for over 30 years, and she has enough fine rent since I've been here, which has been almost 5 years, and I've been a very good tenant roommate. She calls me a tenant, but she calls me a roommate, and she asks me to take care of her cat, which of course I'm happy to do because I love her as if she were my own, and she brings me such joy. She makes me laugh, and she knows what I'm doing. But she'd been gone all day too. This was this past Sunday, and her behavior just kind of reminded me of my mom's behavior towards the end, where even though I know that she hated every moment she was living with her 3rd husband, she took his side over mine. She couldn't speak up and protect me or support me over the stupid stuff he was saying about me. And she couldn't speak up to him either and tell him all this. Just like my ex-husband you know, waited 4 years until they proved it finally disgusting and despicable and hateful. But anyway, um, she says something like, maybe you should go into palliative care. That's for people who are dying. I may be suicidal, but I'm not dying. My body feels like it because I'm in so much pain. But she just, I don't know, she's a little sociopathic too. I know she has a lot of unhealed trauma. I get the feeling she does. She's told me some very, that she had a really challenging childhood. And my therapist also said it might be because, she's very heavy. She gained about 100 pounds during COVID when she was working at home. And then she worked at home after that. So, you know, and I haven't asked her like exercise. She was home all the time for her job. And I went out for my job and things were fine. If she, anyway, she seemed very angry with me and like, maybe this isn't working between the two of us. I said, we're working just fine. And then you're tired. In my head, I'm trying to stay very calm and not react because I want to maintain this. Stay here. I want to stay here. Things have been fine. I think she's just like in a free fall because she did this early retirement too early, maybe. She was supposed to retire in 3 years, and for whatever reason, she decided to retire early. And now she's got more health issues, and she doesn't know her new health insurance that she has to pay out of pocket for to cover these things. And, believe me, I understand that you need to know this stuff before you. And it can cause a great amount of stress, but you don't think about it before you manage it. And she runs very hot and cold like that, and I work with someone like that. And if you have CPTSD, you just can't. It's really hard to be around people who run hot and cold. You just never know. My dad was the epitome of that, and then my mom kind of was too. And then my sister, through her religion, was told to be cold towards me and anyone who wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. So I know it's challenging for her, though she does write or has written, but I know in some of my letters I challenge some of her assumptions, like, about life and the way she perceives it. And anyway, I said, for the release that, and she said I had a week to read it over. So what choice I have? I read it over and it says, I either need to be working full time or be out of the house at least. Now, I do have a full-time job. It's just that right now my health is, I'm having a crisis, health crisis. So I've been taking time off work. And hopefully that's a temporary thing. But she just didn't, she didn't want to hear it. That's the impression I got. She didn't hear it. She doesn't want to. A lack of sympathy, an apathy I felt. And I could have been overreacting. But so anyway, she said, I said, I have been honoring it. I thought I'd been honoring it because it said either full-time job or school or at least 20 hours. This was the new, and all of this was new. None of this was ever help thing, or at least especially the 20-hour thing. Or you have to be out of the apartment at least 20 hours a week because I need more privacy now that I've retired early. And I don't think that's I don't think that's kosher. I'm paying a good amount of money And now that I've spoken to my therapist about it, you know, my roommate slash landlady has been living here for 4 years, and since my rent hasn't gone up, it's a rent stabilized building. And she said, Lisa, if you looked up public record, and I don't recommend you do, because you'll probably get really upset. You're probably paying the majority of the rent. I don't know if anybody else has gone through that. Anyway, I just want to know what my rights are. But anyway, I said, this lease says at least, equal to or more than 20 hours a week. So 20 hours a week or more. And she said, no, it's 25. I have a copy of the lease in my room. And so I got up and I went to my room and I got my copy and I brought it back out and I said, see, here it says 20 hours a week. And she said, oh, my mistake, and walked into her room, leaving me. So I've not been sleeping well, and the stress has made my RA even worse. And just, thank goodness I had my therapist the next day, because she said, Lisa, you did the right thing, you were calm, you didn't react, you were shocked, but you didn't react, you just remained calm, and you just want things to be peaceful, and then keep things as peaceful as possible. I mean, that's my whole life. I've been the peacemaker. So it's just me doing what I've always been doing. So I can hear her talking to her friend on the phone. But she also, my therapist also said, like I said, if I gained like 100 pounds, and she does the old blog, and she takes all these supplements, and she spends a lot of money on her skincare, which is fine. But I just wish she would put that amount of care into her body, because now she's got gallstones, and she's got edema, she's pre-diabetic. And I remember her once telling me, I don't like exercising. I want to eat the food I want to eat. Well, then there are consequences to that. I'm in extreme amount of pain. I have been for 25 years, physical and emotional. But, I was walking up until my knee replacement surgery, and I'm still going to do 30 minutes walk, gentle walk to music tonight, because I rested so much today, even though I did go to Trader Joe's, and I took the trash down, and that exhausted me. And I'm off tomorrow, and I see a psychiatrist tomorrow. She wanted me to bring in I have all this bag of meds that I have taken that haven't worked, and she asked me to bring it in. Now, I'm not going to bring it in. I will write a list of all the meds, but I'm in so much pain, and I'm planning on walking there. It's not too far from here. And that will be, because I've already been out of the house over 20 hours. Even though it was not, I feel like as if you're paying rent, you should be able to stay in that. And that's why I got the earbuds, so I could listen to music, watch my shows, do these videos. Of course, you can hear my voice, but I'm being quieter because she's here, even though I haven't been. Except Lily Bell poked her head in to say hi, so it's open a little bit more, but so that I don't bother when I am home, not feeling well. And feels discriminatory. That's what's getting me. And I've been discriminated against at work and harassed at work by HR and management. And I just wasn't expecting it at home. And so my therapist was very good at saying, so you haven't done anything wrong. You've been an excellent roommate. And I would, if I had done something that upset her, like there was a time when I left my dishes in the sink, but it was just because my hands hurt so bad I couldn't pick up the dishes to wash them. And she said something to me, don't leave the dishes in the sink. And I said, I apologize, my hands just hurting so badly that I just couldn't do them last night. Now she leaves her dishes in the sink all the time. Isn't it funny? Anyway, she also said because of the weight thing, I'm vegan, and her best friend, who she doesn't see as often, is vegan also. And I'm thin, and I've lost weight too, as I've talked about. And she said, Lisa, I think that could be, you're a mirror to her. And she sees that you, despite all of the pain, emotional and physical pain, that I try not to over, whelm her with. It's only like the stuff like this, which it just completely took me by surprise. And like I said, it just doesn't feel right. But I just felt like I had no choice to sign it. And like I said, I do have a full-time job, and they're being, because I don't have a doctor's note, they're being cooperative with me because they know that I have been without my meds. But I just didn't receive that kind of support from her. And my therapist says it's because she's kind of flailing, being retired, and I would give anything to be retired. And she didn't have to retire early. She did. And I feel like from what I told you, my therapist said, it sounds like she's kind of flailing. She doesn't know that she's worried about having enough money and whether she chose to retire at the right time. And then she sees you, who even though you have health issues, you are thin, and she is not. And she takes all these supplements, and she calls herself a pescatarian, but she's got every sort of animal body in her with a hard refrigerator freezer. So she's doing a lot of and then she says, I just don't want to exercise, and I want to eat what I want to eat. Again, that's, and I heard that from my mother too, in a sense. From all my family, actually, when I was younger. And I didn't know at the time that I had hypothyroidism. The one word thyroid is functioning, so your metabolism slows down. And I couldn't lose weight even though I was exercising. Denise Austin, thanks, Denise Austin. And but my mother would point out, and she thought it was okay to say, "Oh, you're just big bone." That was supposedly the kind version of saying that I was overweight. When it turned out it was autoimmune diseases that developed because of chronic childhood trauma. And then when I became vegan and I lost weight naturally, it happens a lot. And I've always been a pretty healthy eating vegan. There was a time when it was here too, once I moved here to the city, because Whole Foods was close to where I worked, and I would, before I boycotted them for good, I would stop by there and like I said, they have tons of vegan options there. And when you have chronic illness, it's tempting to get a lot of like convenience foods because you just don't have the energy to prepare meals or your hands hurt so much. Oh, so bad. And the OA is coming into it. My left hand now hurts as much. My wrist. Oh, God, just like throbbing pain and my shoulders. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, but part of me wishes that I would have it for 24 hours. Just 24 hours. So, though 70% of the population of the U.S. has chronic illness. So I know a lot of people are dealing with this, and a lot of them are women too, because a lot of times autoimmune diseases, women get autoimmune diseases a lot because we're taught to keep everything in, which is what I did. And that's why I have a plethora of, of autoimmune diseases. And being vegan, I became vegan for the animals, but being vegan is also a way, a healthy eating vegan is a way for me, because when you have RA, you're more susceptible to stroke, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, diabetes, and I don't want comorbidities. Those are comorbidities, or obesity. And I was never obese, but I have like the thick middle, and that's like the worst type of subcutaneous fat pads around your nipple. And my mom has that, or had that, and my sister had that. Though, like I said, she was going through the Christian and then into her Jehovah's Witness stage, which she's still in. Um, she lost a lot of weight, became as thin as I am now, and for me, I think, I don't know if it's anorexia or it's because pain, chronic pain uses up a lot of energy. You have high cortisol constantly, and it uses up a lot of energy. And so I feel like I'm hungry right now. I haven't eaten a lot because I just kind of just don't want to like cross paths with her, and we've been good about that for the most part. But especially after Sunday, I just need a break from seeing her face. Because she was very, she got new cheaper Wi-Fi, and she sent me a link. She sent me a message saying, "Oh, here's the new Wi-Fi password and username. If you would try it, let me know if it works. If it works well for you." She sent that to me last night, and I did. And I said, "Yeah, everything's working fine." And she said, "Great." But I'm just trying to maintain my peace. And anyway, I know and I can't remember if I spoke about my mother's day. Both days are hard for me. There's probably a sister's day too. Every day is hard for me. But that song just, and then seeing that picture, I was going through my pictures, and I wanted to, when I heard that song, and it made me think of that picture of my mom, because it wasn't long after that my parents divorced, and my dad got full custody because patriarchy, and he was a bully as well as being a coward, as most bullies are cowards, and I just wanted to know that, you know, I love her even though I can't have her in my life. And I understand loving someone but not being able to love them enough. to get the help that you desperately need. That's why I'm divorced. So, anyway, I'm still reading. My hands have hurt so much, it's hard to read the book, but I want to read some more because now I'm on volume 3, which I think is the last volume of Frankenstein. And boy, do I really empathize with Frankenstein. He's asked for a mate, and things aren't going to go well. I just know that. He's begging his creator to at least give him a mate so he has someone because he's just so lonely. Everybody is scared of him and afraid of him, and I can empathize with that. Anyway, I also got this book from the library because it was really good. It's fiction, actually, and it takes place here in New York City. I'll just read it. Strolling through Central Park, and I dated the hilarious and irrepressible Molly Bent. Henry Parsons is feeling hopeful for the first time in years when a migratory warbler, the sweetest of little birds, tells him to fuck off. I thought, okay. Henry tries to brush the moment aside as a hallucination, but soon he's hearing voices everywhere, dogs mocking their owners, which I totally understand. It's like, let me sniff, damn it, stupid man. Sparrows fat shaming each other, even a pontificating misogynist slave. There's a little metaphor in there, I think. The man who never speaks up for himself is now besieged by animals who do, and I find it so funny that right here it says, there's a picture of a rat that says, it's a fucking novel. I just like that. Anyway, he overhears 3 rats discussing the corpse and the New York subway. I'm going to tell you, it's a nightmare down there. I've said that before. He lets it slip to Molly. She's keen to investigate, and Henry's desperate for a second date, so he follows her nervously into an abandoned tunnel under the station. There, sure enough, they find a body, and the murderers find them. Cue the most terrifying leap of his cautious man's life. Inspiration arrives from a pair of feeding beta fish. Don't buy beta fish, by the way. And his neighbor's yapping Pomeranian, whose unexpected wisdom helps Henry discover his own voice at last. And that part got me because my animals were what helped me find my voice. And they weren't my animals, my companions. My cats helped me find my voice. Because that's the whole reason I found mine. So I look forward to this. And this is brand new. This just came out in June. So I'll let you know how this is, but I have to finish Frankenstein first. Not have to, I want to. But this should be very interesting. I'm very upset with this. Such a new book. It's already been... Anyway, I'll let you know how this is, because it sounds very interesting. And it's New York City centric. Though I will not go into Central Park until they ban horse carriages. I'm feeling better now for having talked. I hope someday I'm able to speak to my mom, able to have a conversation with her, and know what her dreams are. I know she loved Karen Carpenter, and she sang like Karen Carpenter. She really did. She had a beautiful voice. But other than that, I don't really know what dreams were. They were all destroyed by my father. Just, whew. Imagine rape can do that to someone. Okay, and on that not uplifting note, there are some great IG. I try not to be on there too much, but IG channels where men are speaking up for women and being good allies to women. So thank you very much. I'll try to put their links down below because they give me hope. I know it's not all men, but like they say, it's always men. Women are always have to have a backup plan for a date. Not like I've gone on a date a long time, but I remember that one date I went on. I texted when I got there, and I texted when it was over, and I texted that I was on the train home. And this was in my 50s, so I can only imagine what it's like for my younger friends. Anyway, I've gone on too long. No, I've gone on as long as I need to go on. And I just feel like I have to vent this to let me know if anybody else had issues. I talked to a social worker. My social worker I've spoken to before because of my disability application, and they do have a free legal aid through my doctor's office. And I don't want to make a federal case out of it. I just want to know what my rights are and what to say, or to say anything to, because I don't know about you, but I just think it's her adjustment. I shouldn't have to make any adjustment. You know, right? Just because she retired early, I shouldn't have to abide by some new special rules. I wasn't expecting it, and it doesn't seem copacetic to me. It's another word. I think it means kosher, like kosher too. It doesn't seem particularly above board. Anyway, and that night I told my therapist the next day that as upset as I was, I did a loving kindness meditation, and I included my roommate in it. There's a part of the loving kindness where you include someone that you had difficulties with, and she was high on my list that night. And so because I just, I've applied for housing lotteries, and I'm applying for Social Security disability, and I'm doing the best I can under extraordinary circumstances and extraordinary pain, which are my circumstances right now. But hopefully, come Friday, I will get on at least some methotrexate type medication that can start easing some of this unbearable pain. If you have chronic pain, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you do, this is also therapy for me as well. I'm gonna get my hand ready for this. Maybe I'll listen to an album tonight. Oh, I watched another Montalbano, or Young Montalbano, and I have the last one of season 1 to watch. I'm gonna watch that tonight, but I'm gonna make waffles first. I baked some, or cooked some mango and pineapple because I used up all the strawberry, and so I'm putting that on my waffles tonight. And I have a smoothie in the making. It's all prepped to make, so I'm gonna have that tonight, and try to get in some more movement before bed, which I used to really look forward to. But it's just a couple more nights, a couple more days before I see my rheumatologist. I can do this. I can do this. So, all right. Peace out, everyone.